Ever wondered how we went from Pong to VR in just a few decades? Well, let's take a journey back to the past, to the year 1972, the year Pong was introduced to the world. Imagine a time when the idea of a video game was as foreign as a smartphone to a caveman. Then along came Pong, the first commercially successful video game. It was a simple two-dimensional tennis game. 2 paddles, 1 ball, and a dash of competitive spirit, that's all it took. The graphics were basic, the sound effects rudimentary, but the impact, revolutionary. This unassuming game of electronic tennis wasn't just a game, it was the spark that ignited the gaming industry. It broke ground, paving the way for the future of gaming, setting the stage for the evolution of video games as we know them today. Pong might have been a small step in terms of technology, but culturally, it was just a small step for Pong, but a giant leap for gaming. From the humble beginning of Pong, we moved to the 8-bit era where we met some of the most iconic characters in gaming history. Imagine if we could sit down with these 8-bit legends for a chat. Let's say we're sharing a virtual cup of coffee with Mario. He'd probably tell us, well, when I first jumped onto the scene, I was just a humble plumber, navigating through sewers and dodging barrels thrown by a giant ape. But then I found this magical mushroom, and boy, did that change everything. And then there's Donkey Kong, the aforementioned barrel-flinging ape. If we could ask him about his inception, he might say, honestly, I was just there to give Mario a hard time, but gamers loved my antics so much, I ended up getting my own franchise. Go figure. These characters, born from a handful of pixels, took the world by storm. They weren't just avatars on a screen, they were companions for countless hours of fun, frustration, and triumph. They became the faces of a revolution, making their way from the arcade to our living rooms, ultimately paving the way for the sophisticated gaming experiences we enjoy today. Think about it. How many of us have tried to mimic the high-pitched Yahoo of Mario or the infamous chest beating of Donkey Kong? These characters, in their simplicity, captured our hearts and made us invest emotionally in their pixelated adventures. And it wasn't just Mario and Donkey Kong. The 8-bit era saw the birth of countless other memorable characters. Link from The Legend of Zelda, Samus Aran from Metroid, Mega Man, and many more, each with their own unique stories, challenges, and victories. But these 8-bit heroes did more than simply entertain us. They sparked our imaginations, challenged our problem-solving skills, and even fostered friendships as we gathered around the TV, joystick in hand, ready to take on the next level. These characters were not just pixels on a screen, they were the beginning of a new era. Indeed, they were the pioneers of a revolution that changed entertainment forever. As technology advanced, so did video games. We moved from 2D to 3D, a leap that changed the game forever. Imagine the shock of the gaming world when the first 3D games started to emerge. It was like stepping through a portal into a whole new universe. The flat, pixelated worlds we knew and loved were suddenly given depth and dimension. Characters could now move in all directions, not just left and right, but also up and down. It was like stepping into a dream where everything you imagined suddenly became possible. Think of Lara Croft from Tomb Raider, for instance. She went from being a collection of pixels on a screen to a fully formed adventurer, exploring tombs and ruins in 3 dimensions. If we could chat with Lara about her 3D transformation, She might say, it was like waking up from a dream. Suddenly, I could climb, jump, and explore in ways I never could before. It was exhilarating. And then there's Link from The Legend of Zelda. He might not have been as shocked as Lara, considering his adventures often involve magical realms and alternate dimensions. But even he would have to admit that the transition to 3D was a game changer. It was like stepping into a new world, he might say. Every mountain, every forest, every dungeon I explored was more real and immersive than ever before. The transition from 2D to 3D wasn't just about better graphics, though let's face it, the graphics were pretty mind-blowing. It was about creating a more immersive experience. It was about making the player feel like they were part of the game, not just a spectator. The characters, the environments, the gameplay, everything became more lifelike and engaging. So, while the 3D revolution may have started with a few pixels and polygons, it quickly grew into something much bigger. It changed the way we play and think about video games, and its influence is still being felt today. It's hard to imagine a world without 3D games. They've become such an integral part of our gaming culture. 3D gaming was not just about better graphics, it was about creating a more immersive experience. The internet changed everything, even gaming. Welcome to the era of online gaming. In this age, the world became smaller, or should we say, the gaming world became larger. It's a time when players from opposite corners of the earth could meet in the middle, not on a physical battlefield, but on a virtual one. Imagine this, you're in New York, your best mate is in London, and somehow you're both exploring the same dungeon in World of Warcraft. That's the magic of online gaming. It's as if you've stepped into a different realm, a realm where you can be anyone, do anything, and join forces with anyone, anywhere. We've had the privilege of chatting with some of these characters. Take our friend from World of Warcraft, for instance. He's an orc, a fearsome warrior, and he's formed an alliance with a night elf from half a world away. They've never met in person, but they've battled dragons together. They've shared victories and defeats, and they've formed a friendship that transcends the digital divide. Then there's our friend from League of Legends, who hails from a mystical realm herself. She tells us about the thrill of the chase, the rush of the fight, and the camaraderie that comes from teaming up with others, even if they are thousands of miles away. She speaks of the strategy, the excitement, and the sheer joy of playing in a world that is, at the same time, so far away and yet so close. But online gaming isn't just about the games. It's about the people. It's about the connections. It's about creating a community that spans continents, a community that speaks the same language, the language of gaming. It's about shared experiences and shared triumphs. It's about friendships that might never have been, were it not for the power of the internet. Online gaming was not just about playing with others. It was about creating a global community. A community that, despite all odds, found a way to connect, to play, and to grow together. Because ultimately, that's what gaming is all about, connection. From Pong to VR, we've come a long way, but the journey is far from over. The evolution of video games has been nothing short of astonishing. In the last few decades, we've moved from the simple beeps and boops of Pong to the breathtaking realism of virtual reality. Virtual reality, or VR, is the gaming industry's latest leap into the future. Once a pipe dream in the world of science fiction, VR is now a tangible part of our reality. It's not just about playing a game anymore. It's about stepping inside the game, becoming a part of the story. Imagine, if you will, being able to walk through the lush landscapes of your favorite fantasy world, or confront an alien enemy in a futuristic space station. With VR, these experiences are not just possible, they're here. Now, let's hear from some of the characters who inhabit these virtual realities. Being a character in a VR game is a whole new ballgame, says one brave knight from a popular fantasy RPG. You're not just a sprite on a screen anymore. You're a living, breathing entity that players can interact with in ways they never could before. And it's not just the characters who are thrilled about this new frontier of gaming. Developers too are excited about the fresh challenges and opportunities that VR presents. One of the most exciting things about developing for VR is the level of immersion we can create, says a leading game designer. We're not just designing a game, we're designing a world. But let's not forget, the rise of VR gaming is not just about entertainment. It's also about education, about therapy, about exploring new ways of learning and growing. Virtual reality is indeed changing the way we play video games, but it's also changing the way we perceive reality. It's breaking down the barriers between the real and the virtual, between the player and the game. And this, my friends, is just the beginning. The future of gaming is vast and full of potential. Who knows where the next leap will take us? But one thing's for sure, VR is not the end, it's just the beginning. So what does the future hold for gaming? Let's take a look. Imagine a world where you don't just play the game, you become the game. Mind control games could be the next big thing. No need for controllers or touch screens. Just think of your next move and bam, it happens. But let's not stop there. How about holographic games? No more staring at a flat screen. Your favorite characters could be popping out of thin air right in your living room. And what if you could feel the game? Not just the rumble of a controller, but the heat of a virtual dragon's breath, or the chill of a digital snowstorm. And who knows, maybe our games will start playing us. It's a wild thought, but with the pace of technological advancement, we might just see our virtual characters asking us for advice or even challenging us to a rematch. Whatever the future holds, one thing is certain: gaming will continue to evolve and surprise us. And who knows, maybe one day we'll be doing interviews with real game characters. Now, that would be a game changer.